animals, long time no vlog. I thought I'd do a little vlog today. The weather outside is frightful and I've just had my sternum tattooed. So since I'm trapped inside, I thought I would do a little update on the 3 bioactive vivariums that we have here for our animals. So the first one I don't think you've seen yet. This is Jim's bioactive vivarium. He was in one a lot smaller. It was probably sort of this size, which was the one I got him in. He seemed happy in it, but Jim stopped eating, and I looked it up and it said stuff like I may not be feeding him big enough mice and it could be the time of the year. So yeah, I invested in this bigger one. It actually wasn't too expensive, but it now means all of our tanks are Exoterra ones. This is the Exoterra small wide, I believe it is. I got it for £80. I bought it new, so it wasn't too expensive. Bear in mind that one cost £400, so I was pretty chuffed. I love the Exoterra ones just because you have the removable mesh on the top. All the wires can be tucked away nicely and it all just sort of fits really well together. So it does also have opening doors. Okay, so this is how it looks inside. The reason why it's bioactive is because it has like a cleanup crew in there and stuff. So all the waste that comes from Jim, who's hiding back there, all of that waste gets eaten and kind of trodden into the mud by the bugs. So I thought I'd just give you like a little house tour, because he's got slightly more going on in here than he used to. So I've got the same little cave thing. That was what was in his old one, but it literally took up most of the thing. He used to actually hide in there, but he's not really been in there since. He then has spider life as substrate. You can get like frog life, I think it's called, but we find spider life just works really well for him, and it has all the nutrients in it that he needs. He's got a water bowl. He doesn't particularly need a water bowl, but sometimes he does like just sit in it and just splash through it, and I think it just adds another thing for him. Currently he can just about fit in there. I've got some moss over on this side. These aren't like actually rooted, these ones here. They are offcuts of this umbrella plant in the corner of Jeff's tank. They were just offcuts, so I thought I'd see if they could grow. Got some pythos in here, which I really love pythos. It grows relatively quickly. The only thing is that the locusts love it as well. And then the pythos is also growing up the back too. My favourite thing about I love the wooden backing that he had before, but the best part about the Exoterra like polystyrene ones is that you can like put pins in them so that you can hold your plants up, which is really helpful. And then in this middle section there is another plant which I'm really sorry but I can't remember what it's called, but I got it from the reptile shop. I get all of our life plants from the reptile place just because then you know it doesn't have any like pesticides or anything gross in them. I then have this kind of little hide log thing that was there actually just to hold down the plant, because as you can see Jim likes to dig, and if he digs up the plants, all the roots are on show and stuff, it doesn't really work. So I've got sort of moss around here just to help with the humidity, and also moss up on top of the wooden hide. And then in this corner I've got like bark chips and some more plants growing in the corner, and then Jim is hiding there. So his temperature's slightly low. The heat has only literally just turned on like 5 minutes ago, but the humidity is nice and high. We do spray it maybe once a day, sometimes once every other day, depending on sort of how it's doing. I have to wear gloves when I'm touching Jim because he doesn't particularly like our skin. Let me see if I can dig him out to show you. how big our little Jim is getting. Let's just cover up that. There we go. So there he is. He's a bit muddy. Sorry, Jim. There he is. So in like proportion to his tank, you can see he's got a lot more space now to move around. Before he probably had about the same. You see sort of like the spider life that's showing, this like dark dirt. He probably had that much space to move around, so obviously now he's got a lot more places he can go. So I'm just going to give him a quick spray because he's not actually been sprayed this morning yet. Sometimes he sort of buries himself down in the mud if he needs like more moisture, so maybe that's what he was up to this morning, that or he was just trying to get warm. But yeah, he's doing all right. He didn't eat for about a month, as I said. Last week he ate a massive mouse, so yeah, we're pretty pleased with how he's doing. Definitely feel more happy in myself now that he's in a bigger house. So yeah, that is Jim and his bioactive vivarium. So I will come back to him, see if he moves. He doesn't move often. Next up we have Jeff's vivarium. I can't remember the last time I showed you it, but it's an idea for size. I believe it's about 1 meter by 1 meter, maybe slightly bigger. So Jeff originally was in a like glass vivarium, which was the same width as this one, whereas this one is double that width. Again, bioactive. So there's a few, oh hello, sorry, I didn't realise I was so close to you. Few different things going on in there, so I'm just going to open it up. He'll probably try to escape because Jeff just loves coming out. I also say as well, just while I'm opening this up, we only use like spring water when watering the plants or spraying the animals, just because it avoids any build up. You can kind of see on the glass here where we used to use like tap water, the lime scale used to build up, but I cleaned it all off, and as you can see it's not come back. Again, it's got that like polystyrene backing, which means you can pin things to it, which is really helpful. This setup is like continuously changing and altering. I love these plants that we've got here at the back. You can see there's new ones coming through, and ones that I have recently. It's down here. This was attached to here. It had this lovely big leaf up here, but as you can see it was getting too close to the light, and it was starting to burn, so I've just plopped that down there. That will probably die, but I thought maybe it'll get some roots. You can see there's a big one of these leaves here that we've threaded underneath, just so that we've got water sprayers, and the water sprayer was getting like fully just on this leaf and nowhere else, so that's why that one is sort of bent round. And that one is cut, but honestly these grow so quickly, so in like a week or so these leaves will have got the ridges that this one has, and it'll be probably to about here. And we've got some more pothos. We've actually got a hanging one. Where are you off to? We've got a hanging one, so it hangs down here in a little tub, and then this plant kind of curls all around here, up, down. I think, oh no, it curls round around there. I'm not really sure where it ends actually. Who actually knows? Oh, interesting, I hadn't noticed this. It's actually grown up the back and through that netting, which is really interesting. I hadn't noticed that actually, to be completely honest with you. You can see that on that like bit of the plant there's some little roots coming off. Same just here. So the thing about pothos is it'll grow these like little feelery roots, and if there's any sort of like water in the environment, especially as it's quite like a humid place anyway, it can get the water from the air rather than just getting all its substance from that little pot, even though it's all stemming from that pot. Looks like it's going towards the back as well. So yeah, that is our, I think it's called a pothos, which I absolutely love. This like moss stick here was covered in pothos, but actually if you follow, this isn't part of the plant, the thicker one is the plant that's attached to this moss thing. It doesn't actually have any leaves on it, it's just vines at this point, but it's a really thick vine and it's just quite helpful for him to stand on, which is why we've left it there, even though all the leaves have actually died off. And then coming from that back pot, we have two plants. We've got another pothos, but as you can see, no, actually it's not a pothos, it's like a monstera pothos, I think it's called. But as you can see, all the leaves have kind of come off of it, so there's this wiggly green line of vine, which is all this monstera stuff, but has no leaves. There is one leaf here, and then there's nothing as it curls round. It curls back into here, up the back, and then it's got two leaves here, one leaf there, and then I've looped it round here, and then we've got a couple of new leaves up here. So it's quite crazy to think there's probably about 3 or 4 meters of this vine coming out, and what, 8 leaves tops coming off of it. But again, like, it's all vines which Jeff can climb on and help him get round. One of the leaves did break off, and I tried to plant it in here, but it doesn't really look like it's doing anything. That is just a kind of a nut attached to a stick. So yeah, that is our pothos. And in here as well, we've got this wax plant, which again, I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called, but I got this from the reptile shop. It does hang, as you can see, but it's kind of hung down and then plants have grown around it, which is fair enough. I kind of like that. But this is a very waxy plant. As you can see, it's obviously getting a bit big for the pot back there, but especially now I've seen that this is growing into the pot, I don't really want to mess with it too much. But this is really nice because the water collects on it, and then Jeff like licks up the water, which he doesn't do with any other plant. So yeah, I quite like the colour of it as well. It's quite different, it shows up really nicely. In the corner, this is one of the first plants we ever bought, Jeff, didn't we, Jeff? And it's an umbrella plant, so it's got a moss stick that goes all the way down the corner. You coming out all the way down the back, and it's planted in the corner. I have less movement now, I have a Jeff sat on me, and it has this umbrella plant that is attached to it. Jeff, this is not really helpful, not helpful at all really. So it's an umbrella plant. I'm gonna have to do this one-handed now. These are the leaves. As you can see, it does look umbrella-ish. There's not as many leaves like below here up the main sort of stem, but at the top, as you can see, it's absolutely crazy. And it gets to the point where it starts to try and grow through the mesh at the top. So you can see I've just sort of snipped it. So I have to keep an eye on this because it is growing really thick and really strong. So yeah, I do have to just go through and like snip the tops just to stop it from growing through the mesh. I can imagine it doing that. So there's a really high intensity of leaves and umbrella bits at the top here, not so much at the bottom, but that's kind of the only bit you can see in that corner. He used to hide under those loads, but he's not too fussed now, are you? You're not fussed? So that plant and that plant used to both be like as big and strong growing as each other, whereas that one's bloomed a lot at the top and this one's just created thick vines with nothing much on them. In the corner we have this is his only artificial, actually I lie, there's an artificial thing there in the corner. This is his other artificial leaf, which is a dripping leaf. This is just to give him the opportunity to drink from it if he wanted to, but it's Jeff and he doesn't really do what he's told. But that kind of effect is what happens on those wax leaves, which I think is why it works. Are you gonna go up? Really? Is that the game we're playing now, Jeff? So down the bottom I have another monkey plant. This one is similar to this one, it's just like a miniature one, and the leaves don't like fully have those ridges, but that's just sort of, that was a cheap little one that we got from the reptile store, which actually they had just got in, so they couldn't tell us how well it would grow. It's grown okay. It's been in here for 5 or 6 months. I mean, it's a little bit eaten by bugs, a little bit dry, I'd say. It wasn't really getting that much water for a while, but I mean the base of it looks healthy, so I mean I think it's doing okay. And then this plant was actually one which Mike had bought for a mantis enclosure, but it was slightly too big, planted in here, and it's just, as you can see, new leaf coming there. It's growing through. It's an interesting one. We've got that too at the bottom. I mean, we've planted lots of other ones. There was quite a few at the back that just sort of disappeared into dirt. But those are the main ones which have kind of thrived and started to fill up this mini jungle. I bought this skull for our new gecko, but it didn't fit in his house, so he's now got a skull. The floor has some leaf litter on it, some like bought leaf litter, and some which is just kind of fallen from anything that's dead in here or me planting it in there. There's woodlouse, lots of woodlouse. There's a few worms in there and some springtails in there. Well, there were. I haven't seen them for a while. Sometimes if you look down here you can see them, but not so much. You can see the roots though of the plants. So now that Jeff is back in, he's actually showing some really nice colours today. There's random sticks and stuff which are just kind of leftovers from random plants. As you can see, there's a vine growing down here. Who knows where that's from? Maybe this one? Who knows? And then there's bits of moss as well. This moss is getting quite dry, so that's going to need a spray. And there's like bark and stuff in there too. So yeah, that is his setup. Again, it needs to be sprayed with water quite frequently. Mike recently installed like a second sprayer up here. So for most of the time we've had Jeff, he's just had the one sprayer that lives up there. And now you've got another sprayer, haven't you? Not best pleased about it though. You're not best pleased about it. And another sprayer. Jeff doesn't really like being sprayed. I mean, who really likes being sprayed? But yeah, there he is. This is like his favourite place. Under here is where his like heat bulb is. So he likes to chill here quite a lot. This is just his thermos, like it's connected to his thermostat. So what are you up to? So it can make sure that it's like hot enough, and it make sure it doesn't get too hot. Really, Jeff? People don't want to see that. So yeah, he's a good boy. He's just very adventurous. Jeff just is amazing. He's really a good boy. As much as he just decides to escape quite a lot, he definitely is a really good boy. And he doesn't get angry at us, or like, he'll come out whenever, really. He does what he wants. In fact, I think I'll put him on the window just for now. So we are currently in the process of building him like a better climbing outdoor his tank area. So yeah, probably we're thinking of using like a clothing horse and then using like bendy sticks and stuff, because he never really gets down to there. So yeah, that is pretty much our bioactive setup for him. We've got this big log piece in the middle that holds everything together, artificial vines and climb on, curly sticks just randomly dotted throughout. We also have this, we've got our soil, then we have a layer of fleece, and then we have these hydro balls We put that there to kind of, so we could suck up through these little tubes any excess water that like piles at the bottom. We have never had to do that in this tank ever, but it's good that it's there just in case. That's why we never bothered doing it in that one, because you up to Jim, because it just they never seem to get to that point where there's water pooling at the bottom, because there is so much heat going through. So yeah. Oh, a little wood louse. That's there. It's actually quite interesting to look at all the roots, and actually there's loads of wood louse there now that I'm looking. So yeah, that is Jeff's mansion, and to be honest, that will be big enough for him pretty much his whole life. I'd love to get him one even bigger just for the sake of having more space, but he's a bit of a spoiled brat. Okay, so the last one is this one. The last one I'm going to show you is this one. This is our gecko, Moorish gecko's house. As you can see, this is a mini one, so it only has one door at the front, so the clip's still in the middle, but it's just the one door that opens. I am going to apologise now because I do not think... Oh! Spoke too soon. I was about to say I don't think I'll actually be able to show you our gecko, but there's his bum. And maybe if I go this way, there is his head. You see him in the middle? So we don't normally get to see Captain Jack, so that is the icing on the cake. This is another bioactive setup. Jack is a Moorish gecko. We got him free from the reptile store because Captain Jack is a bit of a pirate, and he was found in someone's grapes. They bought some grapes from a shop, imported from Turkey I think it was, or Greece, and there he was, just in the grapes. So he is actually a wild gecko. He couldn't feasibly be sent back to where he comes from, which is number one reason why we have him. Number two is they couldn't really sell him because they didn't know what type of gecko he was. We just did lots of research. Thank you very, very, very much to Suitably Sinister and her partner, because they helped us no end to find out who he was. So in there we've got a bit of stick, which is just lodged into the dirt at the bottom. There's a bit of a cleanup crew going on in there as well. And then we've got pothos. This was a tiny bit of pothos that completely took over the whole tank, but it works really well. And as you can see, it's got a few of those little runner things here, little roots to help it grow. So a very simple setup. He used to have like a food dish in there. I'm not sure. Oh, here it is. He used to have this food dish in there, but he didn't ever use it. We spray him quite a lot, so that's how he gets his moisture. We keep track of the humidity and stuff up here. Temperature is really good in there. And that was actually for a fruit jelly pot, because when we got him we thought maybe he'd eat fruit jelly pots, but he doesn't. He eats locust. So yeah, a very, very simple little setup, but works perfectly for him. And I know it's quite small. We actually haven't bought this setup for him. We had bought like the actual Exoterra for a mantis, but when we got him it was kind of a rush to find him somewhere to live, and we already had this, and then I just set it up for him. He seems happy in there. In the future I would like to upgrade him, but for now he seems to be catching his food okay. He's got a light in there that's for, this light is for the plants, not for him, and then he's got heat behind him. So yeah, it works for him, it works for us. He's never tried to escape when we've opened the door, but equally we've never handled him because we just don't know if he's got any parasites. We don't know what the deal is with this little boy. So Captain Jack's just to look at rather than to play with. So thank you very much for watching. If you do have any question comments, please leave them down below. If it's sunny where you are, I hope you're enjoying the shade. And I will see you next time. Bye! Tiddles, what are you doing?